Good morning, students. Let us revise the last day's class. So, in the last class, we have started the age of adolescence. In that, we have learned what is adolescence. What is adolescence? The period of transition from childhood to adulthood. The period of transition from childhood to adulthood is called adolescence. And puberty. Puberty is It is the time of growth in which an individual becomes sexually mature and achieves reproductive maturity. What is puberty? Puberty is the time of growth in which an individual becomes sexually mature and achieves reproductive maturity. Then we learned the changes undergo during adolescence. First one, physical changes. Physical changes, development of reproductive organ. In males, the testis produces the male reproductive cell called sperm, and in female, the ovaries begin to start the ova. All these things happens due to the hormonal changes. Then enlargement of breast. Third is increase in height and weight. Fourth one, change in body shape. 5, body hair. 6, change in voice. 7th one, increased activity of sweat and oil glands. These physical changes occur due to the hormones. Okay. Then this emotional changes also take place during adolescence. So the students or the teenagers get confusion to take decision. All these things we have learned in the last class, isn't it? So today we are going to the next topic, that is reproductive phase of life in humans. Reproductive phase of life in human. The reproduction is more important for continuation of human race. The phase in an individual's life during which there is production of gametes called reproductive phase. In males, the reproductive phase of life begins at puberty and generally lasts till the age of approximately 45 to 50 years. And in males, it is from the age of 13 to lifelong. The reproductive age may vary from person to person. The testes, in males, the testes secrete the male sex hormone called testosterone, and in females, the ovaries secrete the female sex hormones called estrogen and progesterone. So in males, the testes produce testosterone, and in females, the ovaries secrete the hormones called estrogen and progesterone. The pituitary gland stimulates ovaries and testes to produce their respective sex hormones. The sex hormones stimulate growth and bring about changes in the structure of bones, muscles, and skin. The hormones also bring about changes in the functions of reproductive organs. The testis starts producing sperms and the ovaries begin to release of mature eggs. In girls, during puberty, the hormones estrogen and progesterone develop female sexual features. Once a girl is an adolescent, menstruation occurs regularly once in about 22 to 36 days. This regular physiological process is called menstrual cycle. So menstrual cycle is the cycle of producing and releasing mature ova along with associated changes in ovaries and uterus. So menstrual cycle is the cycle of producing and releasing mature ova. Ova is the plural form of ovum, egg. Okay. So, along with associated changes in ovaries and uterus. The start of menstrual cycle indicates that the girl has now acquired the ability to have a baby. There are many changes take place during this menstrual cycle. First one is the pituitary gland secretes a hormone that stimulates the ovaries to release a mature ovum. The two ovaries take turns to produce an egg or ovum, and one ovum is released every 28 days. The process of release of a mature ovum by an ovary is called ovulation. So what is ovulation? The process of release of a mature ovum by an ovary. It is called ovulation. Second step is the ovaries release two important hormones. One is estrogen and the other is progesterone. And this changes the lining of the uterus and prepares itself for the possibility of pregnancy. Then the ovum then begins its journey down to the fallopian tube. This is the fallopian tube. The ovum is released by the ovary and travel to the fallopian tube. In case the ovum is not first fertilized by a sperm, see, in the fallopian tube only the fertilization takes place. That is, the fusion of male and female gametes takes place in the fallopian tube. In case the ovum is not fertilized by the sperm, it dies and starts disintegrating and the hormone develops drop. The lining of the uterus starts breaking down and it is shed, accompanied by a loss of blood. Okay, if fertilization is not taken place, or if the egg is not fertilized by the sperm, the uterus starts breaking down and is shed, accompanied by a loss of blood. This phase, which usually lasts 4 to 5 days, 6 days, and it is called a girl's menstrual period or menstruation. The next menstruation takes place after around 28 days. If there is no fertilization within this period, shows various changes occurring during the menstrual cycle. An adolescent girl's first menstruation is called menarche and usually occurs between 10 to 15 years of age. And this is the menstrual cycle. The first to 7th day, menstruation, that is bleeding, begins and lasts for about 4 to 7 days. Then 7th to 14th days, for the possibility of pregnancy, the inner wall lining of the uterus starts getting thickened for potential implantation of fertilized egg. 14th day, about this time ovulation takes place, that is, The mature ovum is released by one of the ovaries and swept into the fallopian tube. 15th to 28th day, when an egg is not fertilized and implantation does not occur, the female does not get pregnant. The unfertilized egg begins to disintegrate and the inner wall lining of the uterus begins to break down. Both are shed on the last day of the menstrual cycle. Okay, this is about the reproductive phase in human. Now let us see the reproductive health. What are the healthy food we eat and what are the healthy habits we have to follow? The human body undergoes several changes during adolescence. This is why it is important to maintain a healthy lifestyle for healthy growth and development during this period. Regular physical exercise and a balanced and nutritious diet keeps an adolescent healthy and energetic. Brisk walking, jogging, swimming, and dancing are some of the physical activity that can keep a teenager healthy. A balanced diet of an adolescent should include the required amounts of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals to meet the demands of a rapidly developing body. Food items such as cereals, pulses, mushroom, milk, eggs, fish, and meat are rich in proteins. Once menstruation begins, a girl loses blood at regular intervals at the end of each menstrual cycle. A girl's diet, therefore, must be rich in iron, or else she may suffer from anemia. In India, the main cause of ill health are malnutrition due to poverty and lack of awareness. Maintaining personal hygiene also is essential as the increased activity of sweat glands may cause bad odor. Chances of getting fungal and bacterial infections are high during this phase. A daily bath helps keep one fresh, clean, and free from body odor. Then, addictive substances, drug abuse, and AIDS. Drug abuse is becoming increasingly common during adolescence. Drugs are chemical substances that bring about physical, mental, behavioral, and emotional changes in the user. Use of a drug for purposes apart from medical treatment is called drug abuse. Many drugs can be highly addictive. It is very difficult to get out of addiction. Hence, one should always stay away from drugs. It is very important for adolescents to be well informed about the hazards and after effects of drug abuse. Drugs affect health, damage important organs such as the nervous system, heart, and lungs, and even cause death. Alcohol, nicotine present in cigarettes, gutka, pan masala, cocaine, or addictive substances. The abuse of drugs by injecting them into the body with syringes is also responsible for the spread of a disease called AIDS. AIDS is the acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. It is transmitted by a virus called HIV, human immunovirus, and it is one of the most dangerous threats to public health. AIDS is transmitted when a syringe contaminated with HIV is shared between drug users. It is also spread through unsafe sexual contact with an infected person. Okay, now let us recap today's portion. So today we learned the reproductive phase of life in human. So in that we have learned the menstrual cycle. What is menstrual cycle? The cycle of producing and releasing mature egg or ova along with associated changes in ovaries and uterus. So the changes that takes place during the menstrual cycle we learned. The pituitary gland released the hormone which stimulates the ovaries to release ovum, and the ovaries release two hormones, that is estrogen and progesterone. Then the ovum begins to move to the uh, fallopian tube, and fertilization takes place in the fallopian tube. If the ovum is not fertilized by the sperm, it dies and starts to disintegrate. And the lining of uterus, which had been preparing for the fertilized egg, start growing, breaks down, and is shed along with blood. This phase is called menstruation, and this is the menstrual cycle. Then we learned the nutritional requirements and personal hygiene. So the human body undergoes several changes during adolescence. So that period, it is very important to maintain a healthy lifestyle for healthy growth and development. So we have to uh, take proper exercises and eat the balanced diet which contains the carbohydrates, proteins, fats, etc. And then maintain personal hygiene also during this adolescence, because due to the fungal and bacterial infections, our body due to the activity of the sweat glands, it cause body odor. So we have to take proper bathing and keep our body fresh and clean. Then we learned the drugs and AIDS. Okay, drugs are the chemical substances that bring about physical, mental, behavioral, and emotional changes. And the use of drug for purposes apart from the medical treatment is called drug abuse. So we have to avoid taking these drugs such as alcohol, nicotine, gutka, cigarettes, pan masal, cocaine, and etc. And then the abuse of drugs by injecting them into the body by syringes is also responsible for the spread of such diseases called AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency disease. So that is transmitted when the syringe is contaminated with HIV. Okay, students. So we have completed this lesson, age of adolescence. All of you study well. Okay. Thank you.